Hello guys, welcome to Dr. Devil. So if you are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to get the notification. Moving to our today's first story posted by Perfect Hamburger 812. My ex stole from me close to 90k euros which I saved up for 9 years, and when I took her to court, I lost due to lack of evidence. At that moment I felt destroyed and lost it all. She even sued me for emotional damages and I had to pay 55k euros. So I was forced to sell my house and take a big loan from the bank. I stayed with a friend and helped me find some good lawyers. And we just found an amazing one. One day he helped me so much and even helped me get the info of who took money from my bank account. Something was wrong. On the 29th of June, a transaction happened in my name. I never made it. I was not in the country at the time. Well, would you look at that? I was ready to get back into court when I found out that she bought my house. Well, I have a safe that I never told her about hidden in the bathroom behind the cabinet. She ruined my life, why not ruin her even more? So I had an accomplice that helped me buy some drugs, worth about 400 euros, and used a friend to hide them there. The safe has a 4-digit code, that being 0000, never got to change it to something else. And before taking her to court again I had that same friend who hid the drugs turn her in. It took about a week for the cops to receive a mandate to search the house. They found nothing in the first 2 hours, and they wouldn't if my friend forgot to leave the safe cover open. That 400 euro worth of drugs is equal to a 5k euro fine and 12 years of prison. I'm not done yet. Court time again. I had my lawyer get the footage from when the money from the bank was transferred, and also I had a document showing that I was not in the country at the time. We also found out the account to which the money was sent. The name was that of my ex. Well, look how the tables have just turned. My lawyer also demanded payment for emotional damage, all the money that was stolen, the house, and also money equivalent to 2 times the debt I had in the bank, which is equal to about 140k euros. The look on her face when everything came down crashing on her was worth it. And on top of the 12 years from drug possession, she received an additional 25 years for theft and false testimony. Enjoy it, witch. Here are some comments. First commenter Light Wiggles. Oh, man. I need this kind of post in my life, I swear. Makes me feel so happy inside that some nasty people get just totally wrecked. Second commenter Ceiling Cat Watches us. Well, damn kudos to you op, karma is a witch to your wife. Third commenter 43S33 Ensom 3 Stuffman. Karma is best served cold and this was served ducking frozen. Fourth commenter Fi_ma_Fi. This story makes me want to be hired as a special agent by people who rightfully want to carry out nuclear revenge. Like, I'd be the guy that buys the drugs and puts them in the safe. I'd do some of the drugs, but I'd put it in the safe, too. Hello viewers, if you love this revenge story, please give it a like and comment your views about it and subscribe to the channel if you want more revenge stories. Now getting forward to our second story posted by Ordos Deluxe. I work in the UK for a large technology company doing software support. I'm part of a team that has members all over the world. I've been in this job for around 10 years, and other than the major issues I've had with this guy, I truly enjoy my job. When I started with the company, I wouldn't say that I was green. I had about 7 years of industry experience under my belt. I was inexperienced with the company, but the job that I had been hired to do used technologies that I was more than comfortable with. The point I'm trying to convey here is that I wasn't completely oblivious to all of the applications supported by our company. Everyone in my team, around 30 of us, was very nice and was very keen to help, except for Shane. Shane is probably what you'd term as the team guru, about 5 years from retirement, part of the office furniture, metaphorically, as we are all home workers. He'd been with the company for nearly 40 years. Everyone labeled Shane as the only guy to go to when you were truly in a bind. When I was initially starting, I did indeed find that Shane was highly knowledgeable and more often than not had the answers to whatever obscure questions you might have. Things were great, and our team ticked over nicely. I got to know the rest of the team well, over the phone, over time too, and my best friend was a woman named Mel. She was of a similar age and experience level to Shane, and in my opinion, was just as knowledgeable as him. One day Mel and I were on a brief call chatting about a work issue when we got to shooting the breeze for a while. We talked about ourselves and also the team. I'd said that I hadn't met anyone faces to face yet, and that was when she told me she'd once met Shane in person a couple of years ago. They are both based in the US, I'm in the UK, and both got invited to a tech conference in New York. She told me that he has serious health issues due to his weight, around 450 pounds, and when he was home was often on oxygen and medication. He planned to ride things out until he was able to take early retirement so that he didn't need to worry about paying for his medical insurance anymore. That sounded like a reasonable enough plan to me, and we were soon talking about something else. The issue started about 2 years into my tenure with the company. We started moving in a new direction with what applications we were going to be offering to customers, and towards that end, we were trained in a bunch of new stuff. I saw this as a great opportunity and equalizer. If no one on our team had any experience with this new software, then I would be on equal footing with everyone. This went well for me, and I put a lot of time and effort into learning as much as possible. Shane didn't show much interest in the new stuff. He continued to spend most of his time with the legacy tools. In team meetings, you could tell he was getting pissed off that his status as a guru was gradually becoming more and more meaningless. This wasn't anything personal. We work in software. You have to adapt to remain competitive. As time went on, it was becoming clear to the team how much work I was putting in, and I was well on the way to becoming the go-to guy for the new software. During this time, Shane would start sniping at me for anything he could plausibly manage. For example, if I was late to a team meeting because a customer call overran, he'd make sure to interrupt whatever was being said to comment something like, "Oh look, Ordos Deluxe has bothered to grace us with his presence," even though he'd been guilty of the same in the past. Things like email chains too. Almost anything I sent out that included him and our boss on an email, he would reply with some unrelated complaint or observation, completely irrelevant to what was being discussed. One day Mel called me and asked me what my beef with Shane was. I, truthfully, told her that I had no beef at all with him, and he just seemed to have it in for me. She said that if she managed to find anything out she'd let me know. Things continued like this for a couple of years. I continued to be the go-to guy, and he continued to try and discredit me, and generally paint me in as bad a light as possible. One day we had a major incident, one that literally could have cost the company millions in slough fines if it was not solved quickly. Our manager split us into teams to troubleshoot specific areas, and she paired me up with Shane. I wasn't happy about it, but whatever, I was a professional. We got on a call and started working through the issue. As our call progressed, it was becoming abundantly clear why he didn't like me. He knew nothing about the new application. He hadn't done any work on it at all. Everything I asked him to check, he needed handholding, even for the most basic of tasks. Eventually, I just shared my screen and said for him to watch me. I went into the guts of the system, through so many logs, explaining to him what I was doing the whole time, and eventually found the problem was with a recent patch we had installed. At this point he dropped from the call. I didn't think anything of this at the time. We use Skype for business, and it can be flaky, so I just continued what I was doing. Our process was not to roll back any changes until they had been approved by the senior manager. As I was the one responsible for deploying/rolling back patches, made some notes about what we needed to do, and then rejoined the main call. I wasn't worried at all, because bad patches happened every so often, they just didn't usually have this level of impact. As soon as I did, I got destroyed by the incident manager. Shane had returned to the group call and informed everyone present that the outage was caused by an error that I had made in the deployment process and that Shane had told me what the correct fix was, and I had refused to implement it then and there. I was furious. He had accurately told them the cause of the problem because it was me who demonstrated to him how to find it. I had even foolishly mentioned to him what I thought would fix the problem. Because of how long he'd been with the company compared to me, only our immediate team knew the truth about who was the better skilled person in this situation. His historical reputation still carried a lot of weight with people who didn't work day to day with him. Because this incident was so major, over 100 people were on this call, several of them with 2 or 3 levels of management above our team. He made me out to be a reckless, incompetent idiot, and he was believed. Despite my manager's protestations, I was disciplined and given a verbal warning. He meanwhile was congratulated for steering the company away from a potential disaster and given a commendation. I was so angry, and a while later Mel gave me a call. Shane had been bragging to her about putting that smart bum punk in his place. She was shocked and asked him what he was talking about. His real beef was that he thought I had disrespected him by trying to take over his role as go-to guy for the new software. That wasn't my intention at all. I didn't see it as my fault that he was too damn lazy to do the work again. I lamented with Mel that she should have recorded the call. She laughed and said that Skype shows when you're recording a call and he'd never have spilled his guts while being recorded. I immediately had a brain wave. I decided that I would confront Shane one-on-one. I pinged him on Skype and said that I wanted to talk. He responded with a smile, and just said, "Sure." I called him, and let him know that I was recording this call, and the Skype notification popped up to let all participants know that this call was being recorded. I went right for it, and accused him of lying about the major incident, and said that it seemed like he had major beef with me. As expected, he lied and said that he was sorry that I felt like I had to react this way. He said that he would need to talk to our boss about it. I said to wait 1 second and turned off the Skype recorder. I then said that Skype isn't recording and that he knew exactly what he had done. His mask slipped at this point, and he said that he was perfectly in his right to put me in my place. He said that you need to respect the longer-serving people in jobs like this and that he would do it again in a heartbeat. I didn't hold back. I called him a dinosaur, who refused to move with the times and wanted to coast out his days here without doing any work. He said that he was a couple of years away from retirement, and he'd be damned if he was going to bust his bum for some shiny new software. I said to him, speaking of new software, has he heard of OBS? Of course, he hadn't, and I suggested he Google it. I then hung upon him. Not long after, the messages started. He was begging me not to use the secret recording that I had taken. He said that if he gets fired he will lose his retirement package and his medical benefits. I told him to go duck himself, and that he should have considered that before trying to get me fired. I passed all of this on to the relevant channels before really giving it any thought. Things set in motion, and sure enough a few weeks later after a company investigation, he was fired. I heard from Mel that he had asked to take early retirement to keep his benefits, but this was rejected. It all came out later that he had significant debts, and that he was counting on his retirement package to keep him financially afloat. With no job and no package, he had no money to pay for the medical treatment which he badly needed. He was in no state to get himself a new job, and his skills had stagnated so badly that he couldn't even get a new job online. Mel told me that he died about 6 months after this whole incident due to his ongoing health issues. I felt conflicted about this for a while. Sharing that recording contributed to his death, but I don't know how bad I feel about it. I am a young guy trying to build my career, and he actively tried to destroy me. I should maybe have held off when he pleaded for me not to reveal the truth, but he was old enough and wise enough to not engage in the childish games he played. If I'd known he'd be dead as a result of this, I'd maybe have done things differently. It stays with me, that's for sure. I'm still at the company, and I can tell you all that I will never treat a new employee the way he treated me. So maybe the breaking of that cycle is positive to come out of all this. Here are some comments. First commenter, the Hellbilly. People in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks. Second commenter, NOGOD404. This was survival of the fittest, and the non-fittest lost, majorly. No pity from me, thumbs up dude. Third commenter, tomfoolery. The IT pro revenge stories almost always have an IT disaster of biblical proportion. But damn. Computer geeks just took it to a new level, a good story. Fourth commenter, anonymous_bunny. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It sucks that you now have an internal conflict about whether or not your actions contributed to the death of another human being, but I assure you that at 450 pounds and oxygen treatments, combined with his lack of skill, he was well on his way to an early grave. Moving to the final story of the video posted by TheDetermined314. First, a little backstory. I'm a college student and cycle to campus every day. It's not a long ride at all, but I have to go through a zone where it's illegal to ride a bicycle on the sidewalk, so I'm forced to ride on the road. Most drivers don't care and just go around me since I stay to the edge and don't make myself a nuisance. Also, I have a shitty bike that I commute on, this will be important later. A few weeks ago, a guy in a Ford SUV, I don't know exactly which kind, started yelling at me as he drove by while I was in the road-only zone. All the usual, get off the road, roads are for cars, you're too slow, kinda stuff. I get that from drivers every week, I just ignore it and keep going. This man was special though since he cut right in front of me and slammed on his brakes after yelling. I was able to stop before I hit him, and he floored it out of there, yelling, "Better be careful next time, bike." I was pretty mad, but I hadn't got his license plate or anything and I doubt anything could be done about it anyway, there was no real proof. Over lunch, I told one of my friends who works as an EMT the story, and he got seriously pissed off. He has seen the results of a car successfully brake checking on a cyclist, and they aren't pretty. 2 days later, the same Ford SUV/jerk tried to brake check me again. I was expecting it as soon as I heard him yelling, "Get on the sidewalk, bike," from behind, so I avoided a crash again. I told my EMT friend over lunch again, and he was even madder than before. I wanted to let it go since I can't do anything about him, and my bicycle isn't going to win in a crash. This guy keeps trying to brake check me every few days during my morning commute, whenever we're on the same patch of road at the same time. About a week ago, my EMT friend told me that he told my story to one of his friends in the campus police, who was equally pissed off. The two of them wanted to catch this jerk driver. The plan was to have the policeman parked on the side of the road in hopes of catching and pulling over the jerk. I heartily agreed, and the officer pulled some strings and had himself posted on speeder catching duty for that stretch of road. A few days passed uneventfully, with no sign of the road rager. I saw the cop parked in the same spot on the side of the road every day, a spot where the road has a left turn lane and a straight line. Finally, I'm pedaling along and I hear the familiar voice scream, "Get the hell off the road, ducker." I yelled back, "Catch me then," and took off. I was spinning my scrawny little chicken legs as hard as they would go and pegged the throttle. I guess this made the driver even madder because I heard his engine roar as he pursued me. He shifted into the left lane as I stayed in the right. I looked to the side and saw a nasty-ass old man in the driver's seat, with the passenger window open. His mouth was going like he was yelling, but I couldn't hear him over the wind noise. I saw the police car's spot approaching and started to slow down. Taking the opportunity, the driver swung right in front of me. I don't know if it was the speed or his anger that made him swing wide, but he cut across my lane and crashed straight into the back of the police car. I barely applied my brakes, slowed down to about 15 miles per hour, and crashed into the side of his car. The officer got out, spitting mad would be an understatement, and called an ambulance and another police car. Everyone was unhurt since the jerk was going only like 25 miles per hour, but there was enough of an impact to trigger the SUV's airbags. The jerk ended up getting arrested for driving drunk, seriously, who drinks before 9 a.m., for an illegal lane change, and probably other stuff too. I don't know all the details. I imagine that causing a crash like that would entail some additional charges. The guy ended up having to pay for extensive repairs on the police cruiser and for a new bike to replace the one he destroyed by cutting in front of me. The frame snapped. On top of that, I hear that his car was defined as totaled by his insurance company since the airbags went off, so he also has to pay for a new car. With any luck, he'll lose his license from the drunk driving charges and won't be able to menace cyclists again. TLDR, aggressive driver repeatedly brake checks me. He ends up crashing into a police car after trying a little too hard to hit me and has to pay for my new bike, repairs to the police car, and a new car of his own. Here are some comments. First commenter Mathis_Shadowblade. Karma's a witch, and he got his. Second commenter, deleted. This is way better than most stories posted here. The planning, the coordination, and the even sweeter than hoped for karma. Third commenter Mercy Cummings. This guy is what I hate about humans. Entitled ducking piece of shit that thinks he owns the fucking road and everyone else is not important. Glad karma got his ass. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please hit the like button and comment below. If you don't want to miss such more videos, please don't forget to subscribe to us.